Hi everyone, my name is Matt, and today I will be talking about the challenges, my thoughts on trying to understand letting go and um, and that. So I've been struggling with this letting go feeling for a very long time, ever since I was born in my child through my childhood and through my adult years and currently. I've been dealing with a lot of challenges where I get bullied and being put down by some of my friends, people who I know, and people in general about my struggles with a disability, how sometimes I struggle with social cues, or if I'm different from other people, or if I don't meet their expectations or their standards, and many others. I have also been experiencing where peers of my friends or other people in general, when they bully me or say mean things, some of my friends join them and they do the bullying and teasing on me and calling me names. And it really hits me hard because I kind of was thinking, like, I wish that some people who knew me or some of my friends could have stand up for me, and, when I was getting bullied in different situations. And I also had a lot of struggles too, where s- some women, including some girls, that I knew or supposedly I was friends with, would tease me about struggling with a disability, or if I struggle with social cues, they call me bad names like retard or slowpoke, or they put me down, and they sometimes use sexual harassment, bad terms on me, trying to make me feel down or in that way. And it's been a big struggle for me when this happens. And um, I have also dealt where some of my friends, including people who I know, want me to take the time to be supportive for them, or take the time to listen to them when they have struggles in life, or they're just making achievements or other things. And I try my hardest to be a very supportive person, a good friend to them. Like I try my best to take the time to listen to them, and if they're struggling in life or they're having a hard time, I try my best is to be respectful to them as human beings, and try to give them good encouraging words or positive vibes, or trying to let them know that I care about you and I respect you. And and even if they make achievements, I try my best to be appreciative, to say congrats on making achievement, or I very proud on how you worked hard to do this. I know it wasn't easy, and all the respectful phrases. And it's not very easy when I do this, because there are times where myself I do struggle with my disability because I get bullied and being put down. I struggle on trying to understand the world when, or its topics, when it gets polarizing or it's hard, or if I want to share my interest or my hobbies with people, I basically get rejected and even put down. Um, and I have dealt where whenever I hang out with people in general, including some of my friends, they sometimes tell me like they don't want to listen to a retard like me talking about subjects, or they say you're a Debbie Downer or you're a negative person if you're just um, struggle having struggles in life. And they would also tell me, like, your job is to listen to me as if and my job's not to listen to you. And inside of me, I feel hurt inside, because The way that I was taught at a very young age and currently is when it comes to being a good friend or having good friendship, it means that you're supportive of the people you care about. You take the time to listen to them. You also have conversations with them, like good conversations, be supportive if one of you is having a hard time. And I am confused at the same time too. Like, am I a bad friend just because um, I want to communicate myself, like if I struggle or my interest, but people don't want to listen to me or are not very appreciative, or even not appreciative of me for trying my hardest to be supportive for the people who I care about, even if I struggle with my disability, if I struggle to communicate my thoughts efficiently in social settings, if I'm socially awkward, or if I'm different from other people. And so that is a big challenge. Another challenges that I've also had struggled with where I doubt where some girls, including some women who I knew, including some that were supposedly friends, they wanted me to comment about them, like comment how they look, or like they whenever they struggled in life, or if they made achievements, they want me to be supportive for them. And it was really challenging too to do this because at the same time, they were not very interested in me. They didn't want to understand if I was struggling or with a disability, if I struggle with things. But if I wanted to express my interests, my hobbies, they just didn't want to listen. They wanted me to listen to them, um, and it was hard too because sometimes I dealt more backlash from them with they kind of start saying the same thing like as I previous said was they kind of said we don't want to listen to a retard talk about his problems, but we don't want to hear somebody who's very lame about different interests and hobbies, and they say like your job is only is to be supportive for me and that and I struggle to figure out how to communicate my thoughts efficiently for them. I was struggling to figure out like, how should I say something back without offending them, without making them mad, without getting them angry, but I just didn't know what else to do. So I am a Christian, and I struggle with being a Christian with a disability because I've dealt with many times where some of my friends who are very religious, or people in general who are very religious, that I or people in general that I kind of grew up with to currently, where they uses Jesus' name for bigotry and hate against people who are different, especially people with disabilities. And I've dealt in my entire life as a Christian with a disability of is being bullied and being put down for struggling with disability. And I doubt where many of people who are very religious would use his Jesus phrases like saying Jesus doesn't like people with disabilities. People with disabilities are bad and disgusting people. And in myself, I felt very, very scared about myself a lot. I kept doubting myself. I said, does Jesus really believe in this type of thing? And I kind of was questioning more about, do I really want to continue my friendship with a lot of people who are very religious or Christians themselves? Am I a bad person for being a Christian with a disability if I struggle? And and that was what happened in the past, including currently. Also, something that I'm not very comfortable openly expressing in the public or to people in general is saying that I am an Asian American with a disability and I'm a mixed race with a disability because I have dealt challenges too where I get a lot of people where they kind of look at me and say, "Oh, you don't look like you're really Asian," or I get bullied by some of my friends that are Asian or Asian Americans, including girls, including the community, where they tease me about having a disability, and they get hard on me if I can't meet their standards. So like being perfect with education, getting a degree, getting a good job. If I can't meet their expectations, I get even further bullied. And sometimes I get spit at in general. Sometimes I get a lot of vulgar language hit on me, and I kind of started to struggle with myself, with my identity more. Like I was confused about, do I really feel weird about being an Asian American with a disability? Um, how do I look on the outside instead of the inside? And like and and that. Social media platforms became very, very stressful, in my opinion, because I doubt really bad experiences where some of my friends, including people who I know, were connected with me on social media platforms where they would bully me about struggling with my disability and how I was very different from other people, and how um, I was very creative in certain ways, and how they didn't like me for being unique in certain ways. And I've doubt where they send me bad messages, and they judge me harshly, and sometimes they never really want to take the time to appreciate me for whenever I post something on social media about my creativity of interest in hobbies, or if I'm telling a short little story about me trying to navigate challenges in life while trying to find ways for positivity. I felt very, very sad because a lot of times a lot of people on these social media platforms really like people to be supportive for them, but at the same time, they're not supportive back to me. And they also get mean at me where they compare like how many likes or comments or how many followers they have or friends they have, and how they rub it on me, where they tell me that I'm not a that they're better than me. And so and And also, I have dealt a lot of instances where a lot of my hobbies that I had interest in were basically getting where I was getting easily put down. Like some of my interests that I like was like learning history, including social justice. I had an interest in writing letters to influential people that inspire me. I had interest in watching like um, cartoons, Disney movies, including kids shows, and I dealt where a lot of people were getting meaner at me, including people that are very highly educated, and it was really a hard thing. Like for example, I had dealt where some of my friends, including people who I knew, would get hard on me just because I like watching kids shows like Dora the Explorer or Mister Rogers' Neighborhood, or or like Arthur, and they would tell me that I'm just a creep or a retard, or that I'm immature because I like watching kid shows and cartoons and Disney stuff. And I felt really hard inside because at the times, in times, I can't really communicate that well with people. I can't just say a short little statement of like why I like these things, and like I would try to figure out how should I say it. Like I would tell people like I like watching kid shows, including cartoons and Disney movies, just because I like to learn about the life messages that they present, talking about diversity, treating people kindly who are different, forgiveness, friendships, learning how to find ways to improve themselves or ways to better educate yourself. And so even though that sounds like a good statement, but a lot of people just didn't want to hear that, including most of my friends and people who I knew. And so, um, and when it came to like learning history, I doubt where a lot of people, including highly educated people, would tell me that, oh, you're being a retard for liking history. You're a lame person for being interested in history, and just saying that and sometimes people will tell me that I was a jackass for being interested in wanting to learn history. And whenever I try and have an interest in learning famous people, I tell a lot of people, including some of my friends, tell me that I'm very, very strange. I'm very, very dumb. I'm very awkward, and that nobody is ever going to like you for liking history, including when I learned about famous people. So inside of me, I started feeling more hurt and confused at the same time too. And also I have liked playing with toys a lot, and because I really like creativity and I like something that helps distract me when I had difficult time. And I doubt where some of my friends and people in general would tell me that I'm a creep for playing with toys, including historical figures that I collect. Um, and it was really challenging for me to try to communicate back, saying that I, even though it's unusual for other people to play with toys, but I like to have them as a way for comfort. And having these historical figures that I collect, I like to use them as a way to help motivate myself or give me comfort when the world is tough, and to remind me to continue to be a human being who wants to do good things. Again, a lot of people didn't want to hear that, including some of my friends. They would kind of tell me, "Oh, you're just being stupid and you're lame, and nobody's gonna like you because you like playing with toys if you can't do well." I've also have dealt really hard times where some of my friends, including people I know, and some girls and some women, get so mean, get hard on me, where they tell me like, no girl is or no woman's gonna ever like you with a disability because you're not attractive, you're not sexy, you you're different from every guy, you're not perfect like other men. And also I doubt where some of my friends and people know tell me that that I don't really deserve to have friends because I have a disability. Nobody's gonna like you for being a human being who wants to do good things, and that um, and and other things. And inside of me, I started to see a lot of it becoming too much stressful since my childhood through community college and through the present. And I had to just decide to start figure out um, letting go. And for a while, I was really scared about this because I'm a type of person that doesn't like to put blame on other people, except for when people use controversial in politics. They use like hate against people with disability. That's when it really hits me hard. But in general, I don't like to blame people. I don't like to point fingers at people. I don't like to be mean at people, or I don't want to make people feel bad that I'm just simply just not connecting with them or being friends with them. And also feeling the scaredness of what am I going to do if I can't find good people in life, or if I can't have, will I be able to have people who can be understanding and appreciative of me? Will I be okay with my disability in a society where it's difficult to navigate? Will I feel ashamed, or or I feel ashamed for not meeting people's expectations? I had a lot of this kind of questions kept going on in my mind when I was thinking about letting go and what would happen if I went through it. So what I did was with the let go situation was I did a lot of self reflecting of myself, where I tried to figure out why am I doing this method in the past and currently. And I had to sit down, think really hard about why I'm doing this. And thought of a lot of things. Was I didn't like how people who I know, including some of my friends, would bully me, put me down, call me mean names, didn't didn't want to respect me when I was trying my best to be a good friend to them when they had difficult times and made achievements, or when they didn't really want to appreciate me for trying my best to be a human being who wants to do good things, even if I struggled with my disability, or if I struggled with social cues, or if I couldn't meet their standards. And also, I had to figure out, like, when I'm letting go, is like I had to take a long break from being around a lot of people who are religious, including women, including girls, and including the Asian American community, because a lot of them were kind of like really bullying me so hard about having a disability and how they were making me feel so bad that I barely didn't feel good about myself. And so I did a lot of self reflection where I did a pep talk to myself. I was like, hey, Matt, it's okay that you struggle with your disability. And having disability doesn't mean you're a bad person. You are a human being who is trying their best to navigate society or to navigate different issues that I face. And also, it's okay if you struggle with communicating your thoughts in different social settings, including on social media platforms. And it's okay if you're a little socially awkward in situations. And that doesn't mean you're a terrible person. It means you're just a human being who's just trying to find ways to better communicate their thoughts efficiently. And when it comes to trying to be a good friend, I, I have to tell myself that being a good friend means you care about them, you're supportive of them when they have difficult times or they make achievements, and you try to be respectful for them, and you just try and enjoy having a fun conversation with each other to learn about each other's interests or hobbies. And that doesn't mean you're a bad friend. And and also I had to do a lot of self-reflecting about myself as a Christian with a disability. And there were times where I lost faith in myself, where I was like, should I give up Christianity? Should I give up Jesus Christ? Because a lot of people are using his name for bigotry and hate, and for and even some of my friends that were religious, including all the people around them, were do the same thing. And I had to say, okay, I'm a Christian myself. The way I was taught by a previous minister who was a really good mentor to me before he left had told me that Jesus Christ cares about social justice causes, including human rights, along with people with disability rights, and even on universal health care reform. Also, Jesus Christ believes in helping the poor and disadvantaged and trying to understand and help people and be compassionate for them when they face struggles. And through that, I keep playing the minister's words to my mind, including from the things I learned from Jesus Christ. And I had to come to a conclusion where I said, I'm just going to continue following what my previous minister had said to me and what I've learned from Jesus Christ, and not to give up these common principles just to be accepted for society, even though I get bullied or put down for simply just trying to follow a good path of being a Christian, but also trying to follow Jesus Christ's philosophy. And I have to remind myself that Jesus Christ is like a friend to me, and that um, when I started to let go from the Asian American community, I had to put a pause on being friends with some Asians and some Asian Americans because they would join them for bullying me, and I had to sit down really, really hard and to think about how do I understand myself as an Asian American with a disability. And I would again try to play what my aunt, her name was Aunt Barb, what my two of my grandparents named Papa and Gugun, and what they always taught me as an Asian American with disability. And what they've taught me, the most important thing about being Asian American with a disability is that it's important for me to try to be kind, compassionate, and understanding, and having the ability to wanting to improve myself to do good things. And I live by what they have told me, even though they've passed away. And I always try my hardest to represent their principles and their values and their philosophies that was taught on me. Also, I had to come up with my own philosophy about how the Asian or Asian American community should be. And here's the best thing that I can say. In the Asian and Asian American community, I strongly believe that this community needs to be appreciative and recognize many Asians or Asian Americans that are very diverse in different backgrounds. Like, for example, if they are in different careers, if they're different in want to advocate for social justice causes, or if they're trying to be creative through creative content or in the entertainment industry, or if they're just struggling with a disability, or if they're just struggling and trying to navigate a job, we all should be appreciative of them for their hard work and contribution. And also, it's very important on how the Asian American community and Asian community should always try to be understanding and respectful towards people with disabilities, including in their own community, because we all need to come together to advocate for good policies and to even help our own, including the poor and disadvantaged, during difficult times. And that the Asian or Asian American community should not use the culture as a way to hate or use forms of bigotry against anybody that is different or with a disability in their own community or outside of their community. Um, and as for my interest, I started to go back to feeling more happier when I was doing this letting go situation from people, including some of my friends, where I started to feel more happier about watching more Disney movies, including kid shows and cartoons like Dora the Explorer, Liberty Kids, Magic School Bus, Fred Rogers' Neighborhood, where I continue to watch these shows at my own comfort, including Disney movies, where I feel happy to watch them and to remind myself that I'm just glad to enjoy these things because I get to learn about life lessons, about kindness, compassion, understanding, helping people's good, learning about friendships, how to improve yourself to be a better person, and learning about different educational things. When it came to history, I kind of started to feel a little more happier about continuing my interest in learning history because I was so motivated, felt so motivated and happy that I wasn't being judged harshly by some of my friends, including people I know. I was so happy that I could go back to feeling more confident about when I learned about famous people that worked hard to make a difference for society or how they worked hard to overcome the struggles. I like learning about different historical things like the civil rights era, the women's suffrage movement, and many others. I like visiting like the museums and visiting historical sites, including memorials who recognized many different individuals who had worked hard to contribute to society in a good way or who had advocated for good things. And I am so happy that I continue to like learning history, even though I do struggle with my disability on trying to comprehend on advanced materials. But at the same time, I continue to enjoy learning history without having to give it up and also without having to feel like I'm being judged harshly for liking history. And that I felt a little more happier um, um, continuing to play with my toys, especially my historical figure dolls that I collect, because they really help keep my emotions at bay, keep me grounded, and being creative when people would get mean at me. And sometimes having my historical figures around me really gives me motivation to try to be unique, be creative, and it makes me feel good having comfort of being near them, or playing with them, or even trying to make funny skits of them of what they would think as a way for me to continue my creativity without having to give up. Um, and another thing that I've done with the letting go process is I've done continuing on feeling good about writing letters to influential people more. I started in 2014, and I've always felt kind of embarrassed and hurt when other people, including some of my friends, would judge me in a negative way, where they'd be like, "Oh, you're being a retard for wanting to write letters to people. You're weird. Nobody wants to listen to people with a disability who wants to write to these people." And I felt really bad at the time. I couldn't really communicate why because they didn't want to listen to me. But I felt so motivated to continue on writing letters to influential people who inspire me because I want to again feel more um, to build up on my personal belief that I want to see good in people. I want to see people who want to work hard and make good achievements. I want to recognize and appreciate and how their work or their advocacy makes a difference for society or how it inspires me. Doing this has helped me in a long run. I've gotten some pretty nice responses from people. They send me gifts. They send me an invite for me to meet with them, and I've had some good experience doing that. But sometimes it's not easy because sometimes the mail goes missing. Sometimes I get rejection letters. Sometimes people don't want to read my letters, and that could be hard too. But overall, I would say about 70 to 80% of the time, I get a lot of good responses too. Um, and what I've also been doing during this letting go process is going on this type of journey where I do solo travel, where I go to like places like Los Angeles, where I use that as a way to motivate me to learn how to use the metro airline system, explore different parts, and try to motivate myself, just enjoy myself being creative and unique and how I shouldn't feel ashamed of myself for simply just being creative or if I'm just trying to learn how to do solo travel and also what has been also been doing during this letting go process is I've been doing a lot of going on journeys where I meet a lot of influential people that have invited me to meet with them through my letter correspondence, and it has been such a fun experience. I've learned a lot of good insight about their work. I've learned about what they do, and they were very appreciative of me for taking the time to recognize the work, and they were very friendly and kind to me, and it really makes me feel good in the inside knowing that I can make a good impact for them while they make a good impact for society, including me, that they're willing to be appreciative for me for simply just trying to see good and have good ideas and recognize the work and um, and doing meeting these influential people that I write to or who I really want to meet with has helped me feel good in the inside because there's been times where I had tried doing social groups, meetup, dating apps, and meeting new people, like people on my age or a little bit younger, or people that just doing different things, but they just never really appreciate me as a friend. They never really um, they kept ghosting me and putting me down and not really wanting to respect me for simply just trying my best. And so, but meeting a lot of these influential people has helped me be inspired more and being creative. And so, and that. Um, how I stated become more motivated on going through this letting go process was I watched a Disney movie called Frozen where there was a song in there that got my attention. It's called Let It Go, where it also sings Let It Go, Let It Go. Da 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 da. Unfortunately, I can't remember the rest of the lyrics, but when I saw that movie, I was so loved that song so much because I could simply relate to it in many ways. And after watching it, I looked up the lyrics. I looked up Elsa. I was trying to learn more about why she sang the song, what's the meaning of the song, and here's the best thing that I can say. The messages that I think in the song Let It Go really does is try to tell that it's okay to be unique and different from other people. It's okay to be creative by using critical thinking, and it's okay if you are simply just trying to do your best to be a good person, even if people aren't appreciative of you, and that's okay if you want to let go and try to understand your emotions. So I really like Let It Go and watching Disney Frozen and Elsa saying that because I can relate to Elsa with her ice powers and how she is judged for having magical powers, how she struggles feeling like she is different from everybody else, even though she's trying to do good. And so also, I watched Toy Story, Disney Toy Story, for a long time, and I really like Woody a lot because Woody is one of my favorite characters because I like how he tries to help other toys, his friends, including kids, and how he wants to do good things, even if he doesn't feel like he's being appreciative or if he doesn't fit in with other people. And so I've always admired Woody because, like, there are times that when I watch Toy Story, I can understand, like, how Woody's feeling. If people don't want to recognize him or appreciate him for doing all this good effort and trying to help others. He has this struggle of what is my purpose, what is my thoughts, what should I do next? And so I always look up to Woody, where Woody tries to remind me just to continue on trying to do good things, trying to help others, and do the best as I can to use creativity along with critical thinking. And also, what I've been doing most of the time when I do is letting go is I've been doing for a long time in the past, including currently, where I volunteer with different groups to help feed homeless people, like in soup kitchens, food banks, and other groups, and where I try to help feed homeless people, including people who are poor with getting food or other essential items. And it's a challenge for me because sometimes from other past groups that I'd volunteer with, I dealt where some volunteers would bully me for struggling with a disability or if I struggle on multitasking at a certain pace. And I dealt where some homeless people, including people who are poor, were getting mad at me or really saying really mean stuff because they couldn't get enough food, because I was trying my hardest to provide everybody with food, trying to accommodate as many people as I could. And I do struggle with this a lot, where I always keep questioning myself: Am I a good person if I can't help everybody? Am I a bad person when sometimes other people I volunteer with judge me in the wrong way for simply trying my best? And so, all I can simply just do in that part is to tell myself, hey, you still are a human being. You're still trying to do good things, and you always have to do what you can to be creative on critical thinking, on helping others, and that. And I think what's really hard for me to do is what will happen to me in the long future, or what will happen with me on how long will I continue this letting go process. Um, so what I have decided mostly is I have to continue this letting go process because I've been extremely hurt and bullied and being put down, being rejected, being called mean names, being ghosted or ignored when I want to hang out with people or some of my friends. And I get extremely dealing with the hardships of that. I have dealt a lot of hardships too, where people would judge me harshly just because I had different interests, or maybe I was struggling with social cues, how I wasn't perfect, and and I had tried doing the same thing as I previously mentioned, like going to social groups, meetup, dating apps, social media apps to meet with people, but it just didn't work right, unfortunately. I feel kind of bad because I don't want to sound like I'm a negative person or I'm a bad person, or if I'm a bad person because I can't do all friends or maintain friends. But at the same time, I feel kind of sad and hurt that I deal with a lot of meanness, unkindness, and people who aren't appreciative of me for trying my hardest to be a human being who wants to do good things, who wants to be understanding of people, who wants to be creative at expressing my hobbies, being creative at learning while using critical thinking, even if I struggle with my disability or if people don't appreciate me. And so I think what I am going to do with this letting go process is to continue my interests that I have, I'm going to have to remind myself that it's okay that I'm very unique in my interests, my creativity. It's okay that I am different from everybody, but at least I shouldn't have to give up on being kind, compassionate, understanding, and trying my best to be a good person despite my struggles. And and my future goals that I'm going to do on this journey of letting go is I'm still going to continue my kindness. I'll someday I might want to meet new people, but at the same time too, I want to be aware of my surroundings better and work on doing self care um, and do some travel, including some solo travel, to give myself extra breathing room. Work on doing more exercising, including walking, to help keep myself in shape, and and also trying to be creative on how I eat food because I deal with food sensitivity, which bothers my stomach a lot, and so and I think my main advice for people who go through letting go phase is try to remind yourself that you're just a human being, and that it's okay if you're different, unique, or creative. But don't give up on the good principles of kindness, compassion, understanding, wanting to do good things, and using critical thinking along with creativity. And you shouldn't feel ashamed about if you have different hobbies or different interests. Um, and also try to be kind to yourself when other people make you feel guilty or make you feel ashamed, or if they ghost you or bully you or reject you or make you feel bad, and that and that's all I can say. I'm not really good at giving many of these great advices, but that's the best that I can do. And I think what I really do hope someday in the long future is that I hope that society can be a better place for everybody, including people who are different, along with people with disabilities and people like me. And I do hope that someday I can have more people who can be understanding of me as a human being who wants to do good things or who has very unique creativity and interest or hobbies, even if I struggle with social cues or with a disability or if I can't meet anyone's standard. And also, I have to remind myself that letting go process isn't a bad thing. It's a more of a place where it can be used as a way to better improve myself, improve my self care, improve my health, but also to not give up on the type of person who I am, and also not to give up, not feeling ashamed about my interest or my hobbies. This was a very long speech. It wasn't easy for me talking about this letting go process because I wasn't sure how to explain it right. I had difficulty working on it, but I do hope that it is helpful and understanding and in some way relatable to all of you. But I did the best I could to try to make it a balanced thing where I'm not a negative person, but I'm a person who's just a human being, just trying to navigate life or trying to understand myself when the world isn't working right, or when people are mad at me, or when some friends or people who I know don't appreciate me for trying my best to be a good friend or a good person when I struggle. Thanks for taking the time to listen to me.